Casey's stoked. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Here we are, back at you with the very lovely Casey, who is going to be our demo, our model today. And she's not actually just a model, but she is actually a patient of Dr. Charlie Fagenholz as well. And Casey, before we get started, and Dr. Charlie just takes a look and kind of demos on you, kind of how he does what he does, tell us about one of your times that you've been here and what the experience has been.
Okay, I came in to see Dr. Charlie for knee pain, which has been chronic my whole life. I have subluxing patellas, so the side of my knee has a lot of pain. When Dr. Charlie was going through a protocol and testing me, he linked it back to a scar from my umbilical cord.
Wow.
From when I was born. I was wrapped around my neck. So and there's other emotions around that. Anyway, so he did quantum neurology, QN, which is a technique that he uses a lot to help with moving pain and energy out into the body. And then got on a couple supplements too to help support that.
And how's it been?
Feels good. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Now, as you can tell, and we've talked about this before, not the average rehab situation that you would see going to a traditional, let's say, physical therapist, rehab person, or doctor, or ortho, or even chiro. So, you know, there's a saying about the human body, which is anything could cause anything. So, and Dr. Charlie's so great at ferreting out all these weird and wonderful things that could be keeping people from going beyond. So, and your background is growing up, or track and field running?
Yeah, track and cross country, dance when I was very young.
Nice.
Now I do yoga, which helps with of course, chiropractic as well, but it helps with keeping the structural part of my system kind of intact.
Beautiful. So, thank you for that. Doc, walk us through, let's say this is her first visit, and just walk us through what we're going to do.
So I always start out with physical markers. So first look at the fingernails. Okay, look pretty decent. A little bit of a lunula, which is the moons on her pinky. So first I'm thinking there could be some kind of heart disease in her family history. So I'm always going to check on her heart. Now, is there any type of heart stuff in your family, or?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so it could be further back, in generations that, you know, before you knew them. Then I look at the tongue. So quick little screens. You see her tongue. Okay, so her tongue trembles. So the first thing that I see is tongue trembling, blood sugar. Heart is very related with blood sugar, as are the adrenals, and it's yellow. So some kind of fungal yeast type thing going on. Can I see one more time? Yeah. How's digestion? That would be my second question.
It's been erratic for many years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one piece of the puzzle. So go ahead, look up to the ceiling. Now I'm looking at her scleras. Surprisingly, her scleras are remarkably clean. I see a little bit of liver toxicity.
So what are you looking for?
So when you look in your eyes, you have your blood vessels. And the blood vessels pretty much represent congestion. The thicker the blood vessel, the more congestion. The more convoluted it is, the more congestion. Now you're born with some of them, but most of these develop over your life. Look to the right for me. Look to the left for me. Okay, a little bit of the endocrine system, so thyroid, adrenal gland congestion. The thyroid is shoulder muscles, adrenals are knees. I know you came in with a knee problem, so from the structural level, I'm looking at possibly her knees or some type of shoulder problems. Also, I see a little bit of an emotional sign, which is you're not the best at expressing your feelings. You kind of hold stuff in. I don't know how accurate that is. Would you say that you tend to go towards that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So besides the blood vessels, what are some of the things for our viewers that you're looking at that give you that information?
Yeah, so
or is it all blood vessels?
So that last one was actually, there's on the lateral corners of her eyes, she has a little bit of a yellow, it's called the pinguiculum. So that doesn't mean much to you guys, but that is basically, it looks like a little blob of yellow. And it's very slight, it's not very noticeable, but for me when I see it, it's developing, so we can kind of halt that, so to speak. I want to look in her iris now. Start with the right, look straight through here. Now we talked about how we can have people send in photos. That's one way of doing it. This is more of a live analysis, which I kind of prefer. Okay, so now in this eye I see definitely more GI stuff. And there's, like I said, you're not good at expressing yourself. There's a portion in the eye that's called vocabulary expression. One of my mentors, his whole breakthrough was he found emotional states in the iris. So 2 things pointing to you don't express yourself properly, and that can hold stuff in, cause you to become acidic, which is the second sign I see, is acidity. Now, when you're acidic, you lose your minerals. So the first thing I'm thinking is you may be mineral deficient, and minerals are what make everything in the body work. And without those, every process in the body can't function optimally. So we have these right here. This is a mineral supplement, alkaline boosters. This would be one of the first things I probably would test on her from a chemical standpoint. Emotionally, would tap in with some NET. We may see me do that in a bit. But I'm going to go off to the other eye. Look straight through again. Good job. Still, I see similar signs. In this one, I see more of lymph congestion. And ironically, lymph congestion, from an emotional standpoint, is not expressing yourself and holding stuff in and being down on yourself. So that could be an NET type thing that we can dive into. Also, if your lymph is congested, then you can't detox properly. Earlier I said that I saw fungus on her tongue, or it's some kind of yeast problem. Well, if fungus isn't circular, or if lymph, isn't circulating, then you can't detox the fungus in the first place. So it's kind of, the eyes kind of tell you a picture, painting a picture of the human body.
So let me just kind of, for our viewers, I know that we had talked about digestion. She has different signs for digestion, and if I'm at home and I don't understand any of this stuff, I'm thinking, how does that affect me as an athlete? Can you walk through us, because I know that your quads, which people who are runners are considered, relates to her small intestine and applied kinesiology. She talked about her patella, where you have an original injury related to this, her TFL, and even her stomach meridian goes right through her knee. Can you kind of walk through that, because that's so vital right here. And then the emotional stuff, repressed, shutting it down, is creating these patterns. People getting rehab, PT, all these different things done to their muscles and their ligaments, and doing all these exercises, and it's still not hitting it.
Sure.
Kind of fill that gap for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So a picture's worth 1,000 words. Let me just demo it and talk through that.
Perfect. Let's do it.
So fungus, talk about small intestine. She had chronic dislocating patella. And so I'm going to start on the right. I'm going to actually start on the good side, because a lot of times the side that you think you don't have the problem is actually the weak side. The other side is compensating, so to speak. So I want you just to raise this up. This is her quad muscle related to the small intestine. A lot of times fungus and yeast kind of manifest in the small intestine. So you're going to resist. I'm going to push down. So that actually tests okay in the clear. I'm going to go to this side. Hold strong. And that one's good as well. But if I just stop there, then I would probably miss it. You got to ask the right questions. So in the clear, they're fine, but go ahead and touch over the small intestine right here. Bring this up and hold strong. And there it goes. There goes the weakness. You're going to try, but it's very hard. Go to this one. It shuts down both of them. Okay, so that is from a chemical aspect. If we don't get that fungus under control, then her quads neurologically will never stabilize. You're going to get hip problems, knee problems. Sooner or later, fungus is going to cause other problems. Headaches, trouble sleep, it can be anything. It can cause anything and everything. We talked about anything can cause anything. This is a perfect example of that. Then I'm going to take it even a step further. Go ahead and touch there again. Bring this up. I want you to put that hand on your forehead. Hold strong. And that strengthens that up, which means that, I talked about how the lymph's not circulating, fungus can't leave the body. But lymph also goes with you being down on yourself or not being able to express yourself. So if I didn't get to the emotional aspect of it, would I ever be able to get her lymph circulating 100%? Probably not. And that's where the kind of the clinical pearls come in. I also want to test another muscle related to the adrenal glands. So bend this in. This is just sartorius. Comes from the hip and attaches to the knee. Hold strong right here. See, now that's weak in the clear. Go ahead and touch your hand on your forehead. Hold strong. And that strengthens up right when she touches her forehead. So far I have 2 things pointing to emotional causes being the main thing. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to clear that. Okay? Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and hold strong. Just test an anterior deltoid. Okay. I want you to put your hand on your belly. Okay. She weakens there. I'm going to go here, and she strengthens. So that tells me that there's some type of emotion, which we already uncovered. So go ahead and take that away, and we're going to clear that. So first thing is there's 2 major concepts in life. Money, job, career, and finance. Hold strong. Okay. As soon as I say that, think about relationships. Okay, you're in the clear on that one. Think about money. Think about career. Think about finances. Okay, so it comes up as finances. So I'm going to touch different reflex points, and it comes to the spleen, which, believe it or not, moves lymph, creates lymph tissue. So I want you to think about a couple emotions, okay? Think about low self-esteem, oversympathetic, think about nervousness, think about your nervousness. Okay, so in life right now, you don't have to say it out loud, you can think it. If I had to say nervousness and finances, could you put those two in a sentence that makes sense to you in your head?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you think about that?
Yeah.
Go back to your past. Okay, so this is a current thing. So I want you to touch right here, this hand on your forehead. And I'm going to tap a certain sequence. Go ahead and breathe in and out for me and think about that thought. That's going to basically retrain the nervous system, essentially, and break something called a neuropeptide, which is a stress response that the body will hold on to until it's able to be released through something like NET. So go ahead, hold strong. Okay, now that's much better. Now think about that, that thought that you were just thinking about. Hold strong. Good. Okay, I want to see if I just affected the small or the quads by doing that. So go ahead and put your hand on here. Bring this up. Hold strong. That's good. Take this one up. Hold strong. So an emotion was the basis of all of it. And that kind of clears out. I like to do things where I get a lot of information and see if one thing's causing multiple things, kind of like pinpointing the true cause. So if I were to just treat the fungus without doing the emotion, I wouldn't have really gotten to why the fungus is there in the first place. So that's the first thing. Okay, and next thing I want to kind of go into is, so you don't have any, your knee pain's decent now, anything else bothering you?
Well, I have like a tiny little canker sore on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, those tiny canker sores look at you.
I mean, you can't see it, but I can feel it's like
Sure.
like a tingly feeling.
Okay, so when she says canker sores, I think first off of some type of chronic viral thing or a B6 deficiency. And in a world that is so filled with EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, computers, TV screens, Wi-Fi networks, you're chronically being depleted from your B6, which will actually lead to a lot of food sensitivities. So there's a clinical pro right there. So I want you, were you able to touch it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to use another deltoid test. Hold strong. So when she does touch it, there's something, her body's not congruent with it. So I want to see what's causing it. So go ahead and touch there. We're going to go into these vials over here.
So just for our viewers at home, can you just touch on how this all works?
Sure.
There's a good chance this is everyone's first time seeing it.
Yeah.
Like muscle, what's happening here, I touch this, it goes weak or strong. How does that work? And
Yeah.
maybe about what you're about to lead into what you're doing.
Great question. A lot of people, we do our Wednesday night health classes every Wednesday at 7 p.m. This is a lot of the first questions people ask. How does it work? Why does it work? And really what it is the brain is the master of the whole body. So the brain has a perfect image of everything in your body. Let's call that the reference beam. Okay? Now, humans are electrical. We're made up of mostly water, so if I get electrocuted and I touch you, she's going to get electrocuted. And it's kind of the same premise. We generate electrical charge. You can measure with a magnetometer. Long word, just measures electricity. And so what happens is when you touch an area on your body, say it's the small intestine reflex point, acupuncture points, the brain sends an object signal to that, so to speak. And if the object signal doesn't match up to what it should be, even 1% off, the nervous system will downregulate and a muscle will test weak, neurologically inhibited. Not like she's gonna lose in a strength contest, so to speak. It's not a strength contest at all. It's just a question to the nervous system. Can she handle this stress or not? So when she touches there, the brain sends a signal, that's not exactly how it should be, so that every single muscle in her body will test neurologically inhibited while she touches there. Now I'm going to look for what pulls her out of that. So I pulled out these vials. These are vials that have a little bit of particles in there, the most common stressors that allow people not to heal properly, so to speak. These right here are chronic infections, and these right here are food sensitivities. There's other ones over there, but I want to start with the chronic infections because most times canker sores are viral. So I want you to go ahead and touch the...
And those are homeopathic, you don't have the actual infections.
Yeah, no, homeopathic.
Okay.
Hold strong. Okay, so when I put the homeopathic on her body, the frequency changes the muscle test. And that's going to tell me that one of those is the reason why that's not healing. So go ahead and touch one more time. Okay. So I'm getting that it is a virus indeed. Sometimes could be a fungal thing. I saw fungus on her. Okay, and it's virus 1. Okay? Doesn't matter what it is. All that matters is how are we going to treat it? How are we going to, get the body congruent with healing itself? So go ahead and hold that. When she holds that, she'll shut down. There's these little finger modes that I'm going to test. If she strengthened that, that would be herbals. If she strengthened this, it would be homeopathics. And if she strengthens to this, it would be a nutrition. So I'm thinking possibly L-lysine breaks viral replication cycles. I believe you may be on L-lysine. But I want to do one more demo just to show how powerful this is. She's a flexible person. Go ahead and lie on your back for me. She's a yoga instructor. She flexes. She's very flexible. Go ahead and relax. I'm just going to do a general stretch test. That's actually, is that where it would end right there, would you say? Okay, now just by putting this, go ahead and hold this. She's under the frequency of her body healing that, so to speak. Now if I did this, that's an instant change, showing that the nervous system, go ahead and sit up, holds these things, and if you can change the nervous system, you can change things like performance. Like she's a yoga instructor. What yoga instructor wouldn't want to be more flexible, so to speak? What athlete wouldn't want to have better ranges of motion and all of that? So that's just one demo of how you can find the true cause of something going on. And it's not always one cause for everything. Everyone's a biochemical individual. So there was emotions, there was an infection going on, obviously limiting her range of motion in her hip. Would she be able to teach yoga as well as she could? Probably not. Now, doing this gets a peak performance. I know she'll love that.
Beautiful. Very exciting. So, there's a lot of stuff there.
Yes,
and when we do our follow-up session, there will be some Q&A, and we can fill some of those gaps. I know when people are watching this, they may have some questions. Some people are familiar with muscle testing and muscle function testing, but it may have not been a technique like some of the things you did. And I noticed when you were doing the emotional part of the NET that you said stuff and like the muscles would turn on and off, which is really wild for people to see that can happen. But I'm sure if you have questions that'll be explained. And so talk to me just for a little bit about what's unique